Yo, come peep today's carnage. I was supposed to have a wheel attached to it. Guess maybe some grease wasn't getting to it, who knows. Had problems with the axle for a long time. So I'll get that baby swapped out. We'll be back on the road soon. Just going out to enjoy a nice morning at you know, Revolution 53, let's say. So last week I took out a set. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. So made some tweaks, got something new. We'll get that tested out soon enough. Axle first. So it's been an eventful couple weeks. I haven't posted. Parents were in town, having some fun with the kids. Had some special permission to fly a drone at the Mesa Temple. That was cool. Almost wiped it out. I'll show you some video about that. Took the drone, took the Karma and the DJI. Had some fun with both. It's really interesting to see how both react. I still really like the Karma. After the experience I actually had yesterday, I'll make a post about this. I lost connection with the Mavic Air on the lake. I decided I wanted to start testing how I like the active track at the lake and make sure I trust it. Trying to do some simple profile active track and loop it around the boat, and then I was done testing. I was gonna bring it back into land and just lose the signal, takes off, starts going back to some points that it had been, and it was kind of interesting watching it. And luckily I didn't have anybody in the water, because if I'd have had like a rider in the water, it would have sucked. I would have had to get him in, kind of chase it. Luckily I was in the same canyon. It wasn't too far. I mean, if I would have gone a mile away from its home point, which was in the middle of the lake, because I took off in the lake, which is where it ended up going, and I followed it, and then it came down and hovered about 8 feet. And you'll see me come in and just grab it out of the air, because the radio still wouldn't connect. And even when I had it in the boat, the radio wouldn't connect. I had to power it off and power the controller back on, and then it finally connected. So I don't know if I would have got lucky by turning the controller off, turning it back on to make it get out of whatever funk it was in. And granted, I'm using a Galaxy. People say it's more stable with an iPhone, but I don't know what the heck happened. My dad was thinking maybe it's the reflection of the water and like bouncing the radio signals or something. Don't even know. Just know it wasn't cool. But I'll post about that later too. The last video from the DABIZNIZ was about websites, and I had a little bit more to say about that. I'm gonna have some more to say about trademarks too, because I'm learning what you have to do 5 years in and 10 years in with trademarks. But anyway, here's the stuff that I left out of the last post, because the last post was kind of long enough as it was. But I had kind of this little thing I wanted to get into. Peep it. So just a couple things. When you're shopping for a domain, so to build a website, you have to have a domain. ZenX10 Inc. is one of mine, because the guy that purchased ZenX10 forever ago isn't doing anything with it. Brown Trout something media group. They renew it every year. I chase them and try and see if they'll ever like forget about it. But a lot of people sit on domains and they'll just sit on them for whatever reason. They think maybe they're gonna get some money out of it at some point. Anyway, so ZenX10 Inc. and brabstick.com, some of the ones that I'm working with right now. Try and make something that someone can remember. Don't get too crazy long. Shorter is better, but find a good domain. .coms are awesome, because that's what most people will use. You can do a .net, and the only thing that I think about when I think .com, .net, .ca, .us, .whatever is the most people are looking for .com. So if they're looking for your domain and they heard about something, they're gonna type in .com, or hopefully they'll find you on Google. Finding you on Google means you have to be in their index, which again on Wix and some of the other platforms, they'll help you submit and get some of that social, and they'll get your website, you know, indexed. So it needs to be spidered. Got to go out. You can go to Google, like search for submit my website to Google, and other ones like the MSN one or Bing. Bing makes you do some other things special. They all kind of try and control the content. So anyway, you go out and Google or search for how to submit my site to the search engine you want to send it to and be found in, which should be all of them. The biggest one is Google, obviously, and submit it. It takes a while to get in there, so you need good content that matches how people should find you and what they're going to type in. So you got keywords, go read about keywords, go read about content, and you want your website found with links on all kinds of websites. So if you can get people to link to you, that's another big perk. But you know, just do some searches for how to get my site ranked high on Google, and tons of people will have some how-tos on how to do it. It takes time, so start early, build a website, get it indexed, starting to get it searched, and let people come to find you. That's free money, right? Free money if they're going to find you naturally. Now you can put in what's called AdWords, run campaigns, try and have your ad pop up specifically so people see you, or pay to be listed higher in the search order. Is that a good thing? I don't know, it can be. If you have the right keywords and you're having conversion rates that make sense, that it's worth your money to spend some money to have people click and find you and pay per click. Nothing wrong with that. So those are some things you want to look into, how to be found and have people click on your content. So search some of those how-tos. And when I purchase that domain, so find that good domain, when you purchase it, I usually do it for 5, 7, 10 years. It's cheaper up front than to do it for like 1 year and then the next year. It's never gonna be as cheap as it was from the initial get-go. No matter what you do, it's just they're gonna charge you more because they know you want it. It's what they do. So purchase it for a good amount of time from the get-go. Consider your content and whether you're going to do anything like trademarks. We talked a little bit about that. I can talk more about it later on some of the requirements there. But get your domain, lock it down. You can keep your stuff private so people can't go find you with what's called a whois and start contacting you, or if you don't care about that, no big deal, but you can actually pay a yearly fee to keep your contact information private. So something to consider. On your website, I try not to, at least one thing I take into consideration. If you hard code an email address or you hard code a phone number, these spiders are going to go out and find it, and they totally will start spamming you by chance. You know, that's one way to start showing up in spam. So maybe list an email address that you don't care if it gets spammed, or think about putting it as an image on your website so people can see it, but it can't be copied and pasted as text. Now, spam bots are pretty smart these days. They can actually go and look at images and still find it. So I don't waste too much time. It's kind of a headache in caring about some of that stuff. But if you put your stuff on a website, it's pretty much fair game to anybody, so just keep that in mind. You're going to have phone calls, you're going to have emails, it's just going to happen. But one thing to look out for is these stupid, lame people. I don't even know what to call it. It's got to be like a scam, because what they're trying to do. So picture this, right? So if I get my website, my domain, I do it for 5 years. And in my second year, let's say you start getting contacted through email or even like direct mailing, where they're like, oh, you better respond now or you're going to lose your domain. You know what I mean? It's expiring. And if you don't really understand the concept of what's going on, you might go pay them the money that they're asking for. And one of two things, maybe they actually do something for you, maybe they don't. Maybe they just take your money because they don't own your registration. Pretty confident about that, because if you did it for 5 years and you're only 2 years in, where you did purchase it, which you can purchase it through Wix or these other things, it should come from the people you purchased your domain from, or they're totally scamming you. And they will scam you. You'll get it a lot, because even though, let's say you pay for that 5 years and in your second year you go pay somebody else for the domain registration, even if they were to take the domain and register it underneath them, because you follow some instructions that actually transfer the domain, because you can transfer domains. When I went from GoDaddy to Wix, I had to transfer the domain. And technically, the stuff I'd already paid for is kind of gone, because now I'm under Wix, so now I'm kind of paying for this. So you don't want to, you know, respond and do some of these things because they're totally just out to scam you, get your cash. I just throw that out there because you're gonna get stuff like that all the time. So yeah, emails, phone calls, just part of the fun. You've got to list something. You can get 1-800 numbers that are redirected and kind of run through. Let's say you and a buddy are doing the business and you want an 800 number, so it's not really your cell phone number. And you can do some of the voicemails and look professional and sound professional, like, do you want sales, do you want shipping, blah blah blah. You know, some people like that. And it can roll through the phones too, so as it's ringing it can start with you, and if you don't answer in 5, then it rolls over to your buddy, you know, if he picks up. Otherwise it goes to a voicemail. Pretty official, kind of legit, pretty handy. Again, there's a cost. Do you need it right off? Not really. But there's little things like that that you can do that can make your startup look pretty tidy and actually be efficient. Because you want to answer the phone. People like to talk to you and ask questions, and you want to know what those questions are. Because if they have questions, you try and make your content answer those questions on your website, so that they don't have to call you. Makes sense, right? So you want to know what they are, what the questions are, and see what you can do to refine your processes and simplify things. Anyway, I can't think of anything else right now. Let's get this edited and out of here. Anyway, click here for last week's video. Click over here for a really cool video. Subscribe down below. Make sure you enter to win. Next week's giveaway is going to be a skateboard.